Chapter 6 Admission 320 laps later. Lauren could run 8 kilometres easily, but doing it every day was entirely different. Without time to recover, aches and pains didn't heal, and after 4 days, the 50-minute run became too much. Cherub's athletics coach, Merrill Spencer, advised Lauren to split the laps into morning and evening sessions and take it slowly, by walking or jogging most of the way. This made the laps manageable, but also meant they took a 2-hour bite out of Lauren's day, which, like all Cherubs, was tightly scheduled with lessons, homework, combat training, and occasional mission training exercises. On top of everything else, the lifts in the main building were closed for annual maintenance. Lauren and Bethany looked shattered as they rounded the 6th floor landing. They'd both showered after their evening laps. Wet hair ran down their backs, and they held carrier bags stuffed with damp towels and running kit. "Here," Lauren said, holding her bag out to Bethany. "Dump this in my room, will you? I've made up my mind. I'm gonna go see if James is in." "Don't," Bethany said sharply. "Let him stew for a while. He'll come running when he wants something out of you." "Ah," Lauren said, shaking her hands at the side of her head. "Stop speaking like that, Bethany. It's you thinking like that what got us into trouble in the first place." "Thinking like what?" Bethany said indignantly. "You always plan out how everyone is going to react," Lauren said. "You've always got to think 5 steps ahead." "Fine, give us your dirty washing," Bethany tutted. "Just don't blame me if you make everything worse." Part of being best friends was being able to say stuff that you'd only dare to think about your other mates. Lauren and Bethany always had little digs at each other, but it never turned into a big row. "Wish me luck?" Lauren grinned, as Bethany snatched the rustling bag. "Yeah," Bethany smiled back. "But if our pocket money hadn't been confiscated, I'd bet you every penny that James will blank you." "With friends like you?" Lauren said, tailing off as she started down the 6th floor corridor towards her brother's room. As Lauren closed on James's door, she realised it was going to be awkward, and kind of hoped he wasn't in. She didn't do her usual distinctive knock, because she didn't want to get marching orders before making it through the door. "What?" James asked aggressively, as he turned away from the homework piled on his desk and saw his sister in the doorway. Lauren felt sad as she edged into the room. "You don't really hate me, do you, James?" It was a difficult question, and James didn't want to answer it. "I've got a massive Russian essay to write," he said irritably. "I don't have time for this now." Lauren had been preparing a speech in her head the whole time she'd been doing her evening laps, but now she was on the spot, her mind was blank, and all she could do was whine. "I've said sorry like 50 times, James. I even bought you that game for your PlayStation. What more do you want me to do?" "I don't want anything from you. I told you to take the game back to the shop." Lauren had felt really bad about the whole blackmail thing ever since the meeting in Mac's office, but she was also slightly aggrieved that James hadn't forgiven her. "It's not like you're so perfect yourself, you know," Lauren said. "You've dumped me in the shit enough times. You've broken my stuff. You've even hit me." "I know I've got a stupid temper," James barked back, "but I've never sat around a table with all my friends, plotting stuff out and telling everyone that you're an idiot." "I swear it wasn't like that," Lauren said desperately. "I know it looked cold written down on that sheet of paper, but all I was thinking about was helping Jake and Rat. I was just trying to make the plan work and writing stuff down as it came into my head. Bethany never saw it until you did, in Mac's office." You didn't give a damn about my feelings or getting me into trouble. I got it wrong, James, Lauren gasped. And I'm really, really sorry. I don't think I've ever been so sorry or so wrong in my whole life. But I'm being punished. I'm totally knackered, my legs ache, my thighs are all chaffed, and I've got massive blisters on my heels. James smiled fleetingly. Lauren hoped she'd talked her brother around, but after an instant, she realised it was a sly smile, not a forgiving one. I know what your game is, James said, wagging his finger knowingly. Kyle put you up to this, didn't he? Lauren was baffled. How the hell does Kyle come into this? He's only been back from his mission for a week, and I haven't exactly had a lot of time for socialising lately. I passed him in the corridor one time and congratulated him on getting his black t-shirt, but that's it. So you don't know anything about the mission we're going on? James said, clearly unconvinced. It's pure coincidence that you happen to come waltzing in here tonight after me and Kyle had a mission briefing this afternoon? Oh, James, I came in here to apologise again, Lauren groaned. Bethany was right. I shouldn't have bothered. I mean, I miss talking and hanging out with you, James. But if you don't believe a word I say, there's not much I can do. I don't hate you, James said. James felt angry with himself for warming to Lauren's argument. He stood up and pointed to a spot of carpet directly in front of himself. Get over here, James said. Lauren didn't know if she was going to get a hug, a slap, or what, but she stepped forward. You think you know people, James said, laying his hands heavily on Lauren's shoulders. I thought I knew you. Lauren felt a shiver down her back as James scowled. He didn't so much look at her, but right through her. The intensity was a nasty reminder of how badly she'd hurt his feelings. Can you look me in the eyes and tell me that Kyle said nothing about our briefing? Lauren sounded a little scared. I don't know anything about any mission, James. What's going on? You're freaking me out. James realised he was acting weird and let go. Sorry, he said, running a hand through his hair. It's a pretty hefty coincidence, that's all. You'd better not be lying. Lauren slapped a hand against her side. How many times do you want me to say it? Me and Kyle got called down to the mission preparation building by Zara Asker this afternoon, James explained, finally deciding to trust his sister. It looks like we'll be going on a mission in a week or so, but we need a third person to cover all the angles. Someone younger, preferably a girl. You were the obvious choice, but I told Zara I wasn't having it. Lauren shook her head. Thanks a bunch. Zara agreed that it was no good having us both on a mission if we weren't getting along. She asked me and Kyle to think of another girl about your age who could go instead. So I thought about Bethany, and Victoria, and Melanie, and Chloe, and that whole girly crowd of yours. I kind of realised that I'd much rather be on a mission with you than any of them. Lauren was flattered, but tried not to let it show. Kyle's been going all out to persuade me to make it up with you, James continued. That's why I was so paranoid when you turned up in my doorway. Right, Lauren said, twisting her leg awkwardly and looking down at the floor. So there's another briefing at 11 tomorrow. If you want to come on the mission with us, I guess that'd be okay.